We're seeing some, let's call it structural change.
I think a structural change is such a good way to describe it. We have an issue now where economists for years have talked about a third in the Australian population, where you have a third of the population renting, a third of the population with a mortgage, and a third of the population who own their homes outright, and they tend to be retirees. And retirees for a long time didn't have a lot of cash. They didn't have the superannuation system to support them. So they were fairly constrained in their spending. They didn't have a huge amount of money to live on for the rest of their lives. And now you've got a really different situation where you've got a much larger group of renters. You've got a fairly sizable group of people who own their homes outright, and they have a lot of other assets. And then those in the middle is a smaller group with mortgages, but the mortgages are way higher than they've been historically, and they're really getting squeezed. So it's a really different cut to what it was 20, 30 years ago, and definitely 50 years ago.
And would you put that down to the group who own their own home, let's call them over 55s, and some of which are retired? Would you put that down to the guaranteed super that, I think it was Paul Keating introduced in the mid-90s? Is it because those people, they just get right now, they'd be like, it's like 30 years ago. He introduced it when they were 30. They're now nearly 65. Those people are reaping the benefits of that superannuation scheme.
That is definitely part of it. I mean, there's a whole variety of other things which you're very familiar with. There's a lot of tax opportunities attached to investments that are not available to those who are wage earners. And they made sense when you assume everyone was able to buy a home and eventually become an investor. But when you look at a category now where you go, a lot of these people will never own a home and will never have the opportunity to become investors and homeowners at the same time. You end up with those who are investors and homeowners doing extremely well, and people not able to kind of crack that challenge. So there are lots and lots of tax and social security incentives for homeowners that don't exist for those who are not already in that category. And the superannuation scheme makes perfect sense if you want to ensure the population is not going to be dependent on the age pension when they retire, but it has also accrued a lot of tax benefits to a small group of people.
So who's losing